start at the draft. There's a lot to get into.
Yeah.
Everybody feels like they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Right. Hope has not been dashed yet, unless you're the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
God, what the hell was that? You just signed
did you-
Kirk to that like 9-figure contract for 4 years, and then you draft Michael Penix with the number 8 pick. How does that?
Did you
help
guys
your
see
team?
the press conference with the general manager and the head coach?
No, I did not.
Oh,
Mhm.
dude, it's bad.
Yeah.
It looks really bad.
Mhm.
Uh,
I hope he requests a trade. I hope both of them request a trade.
So I
Can you-
heard during the draft, as soon as they were like, "What the hell? What do you think Kirk Cousins has to say about this?" And there was already people like, "I wonder if the Raiders are going to call the Falcons." Damn.
That had to be like the quickest get out of town. Like his chain is still fresh from when they made him his dirty chain.
I mean, he can't be happy. I don't know if there's an official word that he's upset, but I'm sure he can't be happy about it.
Oh yeah.
no.
I mean, that's what was said in the press conference. They were like, "Oh, sounds like Kirk Cousins wasn't too happy about that. What do you have to say?"
Yeah, that just
Their
absolute-
response was literally head nods, Vince.
Yeah, the Falcons gonna Falcon, man. I'm surprised it wasn't like normally you expect the Raiders to sit on their own ball sack, with a confusing draft. pick.
Not this year, buddy.
Not this year though. Not this year. You did good, kid. You did real good. Let's actually, you know what? Let's throw the Raiders up there. Let's talk about your team first, Sam. Picking at number 13, you got Brock Bowers. He fell to you because 6 quarterbacks went in the top 12.
Yeah.
6 of them. Jesus, that's never happened before.
So when his name was announced as the 13th overall pick, I was completely shocked because obviously you're thinking you have Michael Mayer, you think you have the position locked down. But then after it kind of digests, you realize you got a top 6, top 7 talent at number 13. I think now that I've digested it, I would say after about an hour after the pick, I have fully gone the other way. I love the pick. I think it's a great pick that helps you now and in the future.
Yeah.
He's a wide receiver. He's a tight end. He can run. You're going to have it's just a chess piece that you can move around. Watching more of his highlights, he's just a guy that he could catch the ball and he could run the ball. He's a little bit of Kelsey's, a little bit of Laporta, Deebo Samuel. We're seeing across the league that each team has their guy that they can move around and do different things.
Your
And
Swiss Army knife. Yeah.
This is a guy that adds to with a core that already has Devontae Adams, a pure number 1 wide receiver. Jacoby Myers, who is also kind of a Swiss Army knife type of player. And then you have a solid tight end in Mike Mayer, and now you're adding this person, and then you have Trey Tucker that can go over the top. Looks pretty good on paper. We'll see what it actually comes out to be, during a game. But I think it's a great pick. Great pickup. So I'm all in. I know a lot of Raider fans are upset about it, but I think this is put it behind you, move on. You got a great player. You got a stud. You got a guy that you can win with now and in the future. And as far as the quarterback situation is, the quarterback wasn't there for the Raiders to take. And I'm glad they didn't panic. How many times do you think the Raiders are going to screw the draft up? They didn't screw it up. They really didn't screw up the draft. They had a really good draft. And some of these players we'll talk about, they got a little later in the draft, but you added starters. I mean, Bowers is going to start. Powers Johnson's going to start. The cornerback Richardson has a chance to crack the lineup. He looks really athletic. Eichenberg, the linebacker they picked up, he has a shot to get into the linebacker rotation. And then you got Lobby, who looks like another running back who can catch the ball and do different things. So, and one of the biggest highlights is this guy Trey Taylor. He's the cousin to Ed Reed. So he's related to Ed Reed.
Same
lot
position
of
as Ed Reed too, safety.
right. So I think you got some guys that are obviously some projects. That's why they're 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round draft picks. But your first, 3 out of 4 picks, I think you got guys that can contribute right away, and that's what you're, I think, looking for in the draft. So they didn't overreach with the quarterback, and I thought what the general manager said after the draft was, after day one starters, they weren't really gonna overextend themselves to get a day 2, day 3 quarterback. So
Yeah.
I kind of agree with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Why
mean,
take a project? Oh, go ahead.
Tom Telesco did an amazing job, an amazing, first time at this, first crack at this with the Raiders. And I mean, it's, you and I were speaking over the weekend. It's not that the Chargers didn't have talent, they just didn't have the right coaching to make that talent work. So I think you got a good GM who had a game plan, stuck to the game plan, and yeah, the quarterback wasn't available, so you took the best available player. Did the fans maybe edge rusher? Maybe they wanted a defensive player. I can get that. I understand that. But Brock Bowers is a generational talent at his position and could play multiple positions. So I think excellent pick.
Yeah, tight end is the toughest to like project. I think one of the toughest to project in general. But when you are looking for someone, you look for athleticism, and Brock Bowers has all of that athleticism. So on paper, he looks like he's going to be a force for years to come, right? I mean, and that's what a lot of these guys do. Like you expect a lot out of these players. These are the top players in college coming out, right? So and not everybody's going to work out. Obviously, like there's going to be hits and misses up and down the lineup. And so the people that are like already saying, oh, this team got an A or this team got an F, let's pump the brakes and let's just, let it play out first before we get to that. I don't want to give anybody A's or F's. All you can really do is say, as far as positioning goes, I mean, Powers Johnson, that's an offensive lineman that you guys needed. You needed cornerback help. You got some safety help as well. You just kind of like go by position and just kind of check off the list. Did you get somebody to try to fill in that piece? And let chips fall where they may, as it is. And I'm kind of excited. The people I think that aren't excited about Brock Bowers, that are Raiders fans, probably weren't even expecting him to be there, so they weren't even focusing on him. Didn't even do the homework.
I think the gripes is that you have Michael Mayer, so why you have him there? Why do you need him? So the speculation is that his injury is worse than what it was to the end of the last season. And I don't think that's really true at all. I think it really came down to, you have a guy that's projected to go 6 or 7 and he's at 13. And the way Telesco comes off in his conferences is that he's a human spreadsheet. Trust the spreadsheet. Just obtain the best talent you can. Have the best roster, the best depth that you can. And I said this to Tyler when we were catching up the other day, is you didn't get the quarterback right now. Imagine if you did move up into the top 3 and you got one of those top 3 quarterbacks. How much would you have to mortgage to move up? And then are you even a Super Bowl contender with a rookie quarterback? So
probably not.
At this point, like we're more than a quarterback away. And I feel like some of the theory behind it is if you're competitive next year, you get 10 wins, 11 wins, you sneak into the playoffs, maybe, hopefully. And you see what happens, right? You roll the dice, you see what happens. But if you are a free agent quarterback and all of a sudden the Raiders have this offense that looks like the only missing piece is a star free agent quarterback away, or a top draft pick away, is the roster just a quarterback away? And I would say no. Like, the defense is starting to come together, but you have to do it more than a season. Okay, one season, you had one good defensive season. Like, do it again, because it's hard for me to say that defense is fixed, y'all, when it hasn't done it in back-to-back seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, one thing to note too, that the Raiders added depth, like you were saying, Sam. They also signed Michael Gallup to I think it's a 1-year deal. So, hey, look,
mediocre signing of the week.
It could be, but you know what? Injuries happen.
Yeah, it's a veteran guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Take it.
Yeah, he's an NFL caliber receiver. You know, but
And
He's not
you
going
know
to
what I
win you
love
any
about it?
fantasy leagues.
You know what I love about it is that it's talent that's no longer on the Dallas Cowboys. So strip them for all the parts that they got.
Right. So my dad's in the comments saying, as you all said, the Raiders did well. You know who else did well? The Eagles.
Yes.
Tim,
yes.
let's put the Eagles draft on the board. So Tyler, talk about your team.
Yeah, I
you know?
mean, I'm just convinced that Howie Roseman did a deal with the devil going back to last year because I mean, the
It's
fact
because
that
it's because Howie's the devil.
I agree, fully agree, I fully agree. Just like how Brock Bowers fell to you guys as a top pick, I mean, the Eagles acquire arguably one of the top cornerbacks in Kenyon Mitchell from Toledo, who was a top 10 projected player and fell all the way to number 22. So again, we just get lucky, and then you turn around. We were hoping like Cooper was maybe going to be the guy available. Not only did we get Kenyon Mitchell, but in the second round we ended up getting Cooper as well too.
Shout out white guy corners.
He's probably going to play
back.
safety for us.
We've already seen the memes of him like next to Jackie Robinson, like breaking the color barrier. That's not going to be part of meme of the week, but that does deserve an honorable mention.
But how he addressed what he needed to address. Corner was one of our biggest positions. Yes, we did get Gardner back, who I think arguably is probably going to even have a more solid year this year than he did last year, which is he did phenomenal in Detroit until the playoffs came, and a little bit of talking made him eat crow there in the playoffs there. But we addressed the corner position for the future. We addressed the safety position for the future. Losing Sidney Brown last year to that torn Achilles, that's now in the rearview mirror. Sid can go get healed up, and we'll have you ready to go and slot you in where we need to. We addressed the linebacker position in our third round pick in Jalix Hunts. I mean, Howie did an excellent job. I did also want to note too an honorable mention here, since he was signing after the draft here, but I'm sorry, a fifth round pick. I'm sorry, he was a fifth round pick. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. got picked up. His dad was a legendary Eagles fan. I saw a wonderful post online that said
Eagles player, not Eagles fan.
I'm sorry, Eagles player. And I saw a wonderful post online that Trotter had an excellent career with the Eagles, had a son, raised that son. That son eventually gets drafted by the Eagles, all before the Dallas Cowboys have made it to an NFC championship. So yeah, no, I think we did an excellent job in the draft. We addressed a lot of issues that were glaring issues that fans have been clamoring about getting defensive back help and linebacker help, and we did it, man. I feel good about it. We'll see what happens when they start playing every Sunday here. So
when the Raiders were picking, I definitely thought they were going with Kenyon Mitchell. That's what I think most Raider fans thought. So he's a hell of a player. The cornerback class was really good because the Lions got Arnold, and he's a really good defensive back too. I mean, he is a big dude. So yeah, the defensive backs this year were studs.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you got on the docket here for us, Vince?
All right, so go ahead, Tim. Let's switch it over to the Niners. So the Niners get a wide receiver, Ricky Pearsall, in the first round. A lot of people had other wide receivers available higher up on the list, but obviously the Kyle and like everybody else thought that Pearsall was the guy. He was the best available wide receiver at that point, and he's gonna end up answering a question because it sounds like there's a lot of smoke. Now I'm starting to believe that one of the receivers, either Debo or Brandon Ayuk, are going to be gone at this point. I'm starting to believe that. And Ricky Pearsall is going to basically be able to, step right in and kind of fill that role, hopefully, if he pans out, Then you go back and you answer the quarterback, and you get the lineman Pooney from Kansas, huge mammoth fucking guy. Really excited about that. You get a little running back depth in the fourth round. I love it when Kyle takes a backup running back. It's a guy that if Christian happens to go down for a week or two, he's gonna probably step in and get you 20 fantasy points for your league that week, and then ride off into the sunset, never to be heard from again. Yeah, so I mean, it looks like the Niners mostly tried to hit a lot of the spots. I didn't think they'd go wide receiver quite so early, but they liked Ricky at that spot. They've earned a lot of trust with me. At this point, consistently in the NFC title game or the Super Bowl over the last 5 years. So I'm not gonna really go down. Why'd you pick this guy instead of that guy? Because at this point, they've kind of earned a little bit of trust with me at this point. It's a good point from my dad in the comments too. Pearsall will replace Ray McLeod in the return game as well. Like, so that'll Debo for a little while was doing return game work earlier on in his career as well. So that makes sense. Yeah, so I feel comfortable with what the Niners did. Obviously, when you're drafting second to last, you're not going to be able to get the number one guy available in each round. You're just kind of seeing what falls to you and then just act accordingly. And there you go. So I'm content with the draft in general for the Niners, and we'll just see how all these guys fit in. They also they added Terrell Owens' son, who's also a wide receiver in the undrafted free agent market as well. Just fun little shit like that. So
yeah,
and Brendan Rice gets drafted by the Chargers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also Gore's son gets picked up by the Bills undrafted as well. But
yep, I mean undrafted. A
lot of legacy.
Oh, and the Raiders signed Gus Bradley's son. He's a quarterback.
Yeah, there's so many legacies. Trouter's kid, Gus Bradley's
Yeah.
kid, Gore's kid.
This is kind of fun. Undrafted free agents tend to do a lot better in general now than they ever used to. In part because the draft isn't as big, like in terms of number of picks.
Yeah.
So because it used to be like 12 rounds, way back when, and now it's 7 rounds. So guys like, for example, popular villain Tony Romo was an undrafted free agent, right, for the Cowboys, and he ended up having a Pro Bowl level career. He won a couple of games for the Cowboys before failing in the division round. Anytime we can throw shit on the Cowboys
about like unsigned undrafted rookie free agents like Brock Purdy, I read that the 49ers picked him because they spoke to his agent and he wasn't going to sign with the 49ers. So they knew that he was not going to come out and sign with them as a free agent. He would probably stay somewhere closer, to where his college team was, so they had to take him. Worked out pretty well.
So far,
but so sometimes you hear about these things that teams will move up in a draft to get a player like in the 7th round because they don't want to lose them. There's no guarantee they're going to be able to sign them. So
yeah,
I did also.
I was going to just say, if you are like a possible 7th round player, I almost wouldn't, if I was in that situation, I almost would not want to get drafted so I could have my choice of where I go,
Absolutely.
I can choose a better situation for me.
Absolutely.
So
I did also forget to mention that the Eagles, they made 9 different trades during the draft, which is the most they've done since any team's done since 1990. And there's just kind of the sentiment that the Eagles are probably going to get dinged for tampering with dealing with Saquon Barkley a little bit too early before free agency kind of opened up. But that being said, Howie has traded in this draft for 9 picks next year in the next NFL draft. So fine. Hit us for a draft pick.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay.
He's like, which one you want?
Like peeling them off like ones in a club, man.
Which one you want?